Hello there, world of tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, we're going to be playing in a rather interesting British Tier 10 Tech Tree Tank Destroyer. In front of me, we have the FE2 183. In Blitz, this is the Tier 10 on the British Tech Tree Tank Destroyer line. You start at the AT2, you go to the AT8, to the AT7, to the 1815, and then you go to the Tortoise, and finally you have the FE2 183. The Badger is what it grinds to on World of Tanks PC, and this is what the Tortoise grinds to on Lesta's version of World of Tanks. As we can see, there is no 183. It goes from the AT2 all the way to the FE205B Alligator. Yes, indeed. This is actually pretty good, if you ask me, and I wish Wargaming did something like this in Blitz, because I think it's really annoying to run into 183s every single battle. Now, the vehicle is still a tank that you can drive. As we can see, it counts as a collector. It's blue. If you sell it, it's worth 2,000 gold. But it is indeed not a tech tree vehicle. You can no longer grind the line, and I think that is a good thing. It stops a lot of players from being able to get their hands on something which is not good for the development of the game. Now, the Alligator is a really, really fun and interesting vehicle. It has 4,000 damage per minute. Its aiming time is pretty poor, and its on-movement dispersion isn't anything great either. And what's interesting about this vehicle is that it's not very fast. As we know, the Badger, it's actually like decently mobile. It goes 34, and not only that, unless it hasn't gotten the nerf to its traverse speed, it also has super speed boost. So, like, it's actually fast on Lesta. Well, the Alligator is not fast. It has a top speed of 25. And not only that, but it does get speed boost, but remember, like, it's not that crazy. You're only getting a 5 kilometer per hour boost, so at max you're going 30 with this tank, and on average you're going 25. That is literally 50% worse than something like the Badger, and it'll definitely be noticeable. I have not seen a single Alligator played in like the 100 games I've played on Lesta so far, and my thought process is because this just isn't an incredible tank. I've messed around with it, and the armor doesn't seem to be that good, which is a little confusing because, you know, you'd assume the armor would be good on a vehicle like this, but no, that's actually not the case. Now, we have activated our speed boost, and you can see that whopping 30 kilometer per hour speed here. We have a 6-second reload for a 400 alpha gun. That is crazy fast when you actually think about it. And as we can see, the on-move dispersion is definitely quite a bit better than something like that of a Badger. The Badger would be sitting at such a larger aiming circle, but this is also slower than the Badger, so you have to remember that it's slower, therefore, I don't think both guns are good when it comes to the on-move dispersion. It's really down to the base accuracy. Now, this vehicle does have Hesh, which is quite nice. You can obviously cut through any opponent weak spots and things like that quite easily. It doesn't have a lot of health, though. Only 1,900 base. I really wish that Wargaming, and I guess Lesta, but it's always something that I've highly disagreed with, and that is the fact that heavily armored tank destroyers have less health than heavies. I've always personally felt that heavy tank destroyers should have similar health to heavies, therefore you will be able to do similar rolls. And I guess it's a balancing factor where, like, you have a better gun, so you get worse mechanics elsewhere. But I don't know, that's always something that I felt very strongly about. Now, something else that I should mention about the Alligator is that the vehicle does not feature very good gun depression. Unlike the Badger, this tank only has like 6 degrees, which is definitely something to keep in mind. You're going to be lacking in the gun depression department. As much as I want to make an aggressive play here, I also know that I really can't, not without being a little bit worried about what's exactly going on here. Now, we got 1 shell into that 114. We got 2 shells into that 114. That's pretty good, actually. That's definitely pretty good there. We get a bounce. That's nice. Okay. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. We're going to start backing up. We obviously have the T110 E5 in the distance over here. We get a nice shell tracking that E5. And ideally, if that T110 E5 didn't repair the track wheel... Ooh, we did get another tracking shell out. Well, we can definitely see that crazy good DPM. 5-second reload when activating Adrenaline. I mean, that is actually, like, a little insane. And because of that, we can definitely bleed out our opponents if we know where to position our tank. But again, the mobility is the real crux of this vehicle. You're going to really struggle in certain situations. And by the way, you can see that on-movement dispersion there. It's not accurate at all. Like, if you're expecting this vehicle to hit shots on move, you Well, you better stop. Oh boy, that's a 268. Minus 570 in my health. We do get a bounce from the E5 at least, and to be fair, I don't like this at all. This is bad. That E5, definitely a threat. We're going to aim in a standard shell. There you go. Nice 430. I'm really worried about that IS-7 behind me. That is definitely a threat. Okay, no, that player's dead now. So what I'm hoping is that I can activate my speed boost, and then I can ignore the 114 right now, move over to the IS-7, bleed this player out with my superior DPM, and then we can make our way back over towards the other side. So there's the IS-7. Let's get our first shell in for 400 damage. Now we can roll around this corner here. We can aim it on the IS-7 lower plate. There's our second shell, another 400 damage. This is where the DPM of this vehicle does feel a little bit insane. Now that's kind of a lame shell, not gonna lie, but we do get a bounce from the IS-7. I'm gonna load gold, that way we can guarantee our pen into his tank. And now we can shoot the IS-7 again. There you go. Nice 419. We do get penned there. Not ideal. And, yep, we get penned again. You can start to see the armor on this vehicle. Not as good as you would think. Like, the IS-7 just cuts right through you. Now, we do get the clean. Never mind. We bounced the flat side. Well, it is a Soviet heavy after all. I mean, we were going to win this game. The 121B was way too healthy, and I kind of knew once the 121B was spotted that I was cooked. But we did a lot of damage. We did fine. This is like one of the few tanks that I actually think is decently balanced on Lesta. In fact, I think it's a little underpowered. I do feel like its frontal plate should be a lot stronger than it is if it's going to sacrifice the gun depression and the mobility for, you know, a not even that accurate gun. But we did block 2,800 damage this game, and we did over 4,000, so I really can't complain. Oh, we got some sort of ad here. What am I looking at? I don't know. Interesting. I'm going to try and log back in. I don't know what this is. I don't speak Russian. You know, some people have thought that I speak Russian. It's more just the fact that I understand where all of the icons are in this game compared to, like, Blitz, right? Because I know where the damage numbers are, where the reload, and all the settings are, so it's not very hard for me to look at both of them and be like, okay, I understand what I'm looking at here. That's not too hard for me to figure out. Like, obviously, this says players in queue, 306. You know, that stuff's very easy for me to understand. But when it comes to, like, this chat at the bottom here, I don't know what the heck that says. This probably says Canyon, Supremacy. I can understand some of the things, but when it comes to a lot of the other portions of this game, I don't understand what I'm reading sometimes. There's certain tanks which might be on the enemy team, and I don't know exactly what I'm going up against sometimes, but it's not that big of a deal. Any of the non-Soviet tanks have normal names, but anything that's Russian, instead of it being OBJ, it's like 06 dot, because that's what OBJ is in Russian. It's just like 06. I don't know. Either way, let's see what we can do here in our alligator. We have to go to this portion of the map over here because we just don't have flexibility for anywhere else. Again, 6 degrees of gun depression. That might even be 5. We'll have to check after this game. What I can say is it's not a lot of gun depression, and that obviously puts you in a rather awkward spot because you're like a Badger, but you don't have any of the capabilities of a Badger. You're missing the key factor, which is the flexibility on a ridgeline. So this tank's more of like a town fighter, but Canyon is not a town map. It's quite the opposite, which kind of sucks, I guess, right? Well, we get a shell into the enemy E50M for 350 damage. And we actually didn't get spotted. This tank must have pretty good camo values if that's the case. We have the 777 all the way on the other side of the map, and wow, yeah, we can see, though, the accuracy of this vehicle. Not something to be very impressed with. Let's try again. Yeah, wow. This is not a great gun. I was expecting better from this gun. Let's try and aim in. No. There's no way we're going to pen that 777. Not with our BZ-75 YOLOing him for some reason. Alright, let's move over here. Let's see if we can get some more damage out. So far, we're at 300, which is something, but not a lot. That's the easiest way to word it. We have the 777, who... Ooh, watch this, guys. Watch this. Bow! Oh, okay. Never mind. Yeah, this gun sucks. Like, really. They did a great job of saying, hey, you guys don't like the Badger gun? Well, here's a lower alpha version of it. We get a nice shell into the STB for 370, and at least the DPM of this vehicle, again, is something that's very good. We actually get a high explosive shell into that STB and end up taking that player out of the game. But, oh, that's a Caro. Wow, does this gun have terrible on move. Man, I just... Inaccurate guns really get me angry because I'm the kind of player that likes having accuracy. I like not having to lose my mind when shooting at a vehicle. And this tank sacrifices literally everything, too. So it is a little interesting to see the balancing decisions on Lesta versus the balancing decisions on Wargaming. But yeah, not every tank on Lesta is OP. This is definitely a great example of one of those tanks that's pretty mid at best. But let's aim it on the lower plate of the Sohri. There you go. Easy clear. And yeah, not a bad game. Not a bad game at all. Alright, sweet. I mean, we did 2,000 damage, so I can't really say we did anything impressive either. But we won, so there's that. What do you guys think about the Alligator? Let me know in the comments. I can tell you that it's definitely not a very good tank. It's too slow, and its DPM is not crazy. I mean, it's 4K DPM, don't get me wrong, that's a lot. But, like, the Badger also has 4,000 DPM. So, it's not like this tank has anything over the Badger. In fact, it actually has less DPM. So, I don't know. I feel like this tank is rather mediocre. What is this player's stats in it? Ooh, we're not gonna, we'll go away from that page. Either way, what do you guys think about this vehicle? I think it's a 5 out of 10. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.